Hey, everybody, I am Kevin Iole. Welcome to Yahoo Sports. My privilege to have on one of the best fighters in the world, number 6 on the Yahoo Sports pound for pound list, the former middleweight champion, Robert Whittaker. Robert, of course, will fight in the main event on Saturday at Apex against Kelvin Gastelum, a fight we thought we might see a few years ago. We'll finally get it now. Rob, what's up, my man?
Not much, mate. Just cruising.
Atta baby. You had a lot more time than Marvin Vittori had in terms of preparing for a change in opponent. But going from a right-hander to a left-hander, any problems that presents for you going from Paulo Costa to Kelvin Gastelum?
Yeah, obviously they're very stylistically different, but fortunately I've had a lot of work with Southpaws in the last few years, so it's not too bad. And I had a previous camp preparing for Kelvin as well. So,
do you notice any difference in Kelvin? It seemed like against Ian Heinisch, maybe he used wrestling a lot more than he had since his early days, in my opinion. Wasn't as much of a striker, and he mixed in a lot of takedowns and wrestling very effectively. Did you see anything in there that looked different to you?
yeah, certainly. He was very wrestle heavy, but he was having a lot of success with it. So it was a pretty smart game plan with it. It's Yeah, I'm expecting the best Kelvin Gastelum, and that I guess that's what makes him so dangerous is that he can take the fight anywhere.
One of the things I want to talk to you about, I have long felt you've been one of the top 5, top 10 fighters in the world. And you made the comment that, you were kind of too much all in and that you were too committed to this sport and that, maybe stepping back would make you better. And so I wonder, like, since you've taken that, maybe changing your approach, do you think it has had an impact on how good you are in your game and as well as, I guess, your personal life?
Definitely, I certainly feel that I'm much more balanced with my approach in combat as well as, which is having a direct effect on my home and family life as well. But I guess the biggest change is that I'm just enjoying it a lot more. It's not a struggle to do certain aspects of the game.
Interesting. Did you find it before, like, when you were champion that, there's so many demands on you and then all the, you're fighting the best fighters in the world on a regular basis. Did you feel like that was a part of it too? Like all the pressure that came with, with the responsibility you had?
Uh, I It's hard to say. Like fighting the best fighters, like, I'm still fighting the best fighters in the world.
Right.
you know, I guess, but I don't know. I just there wasn't balance in my life during that period. So, where I am now, I'm in a much better place.
You went 5 rounds in each of your last 2 fights, really impressive wins over Darren Till and Jared Cannonier. So obviously you have the gas tank. Do you feel like, sometimes less is more? I know you have to be in amazing shape to be an MMA athlete, but where you push so much, I know you talked about having trained on Christmas Day and everything. Do you feel like, backing off a little bit gives you that extra juice and your body is rejuvenated, so to speak?
Maybe a little, but I guess the biggest change it had was on my head. It was just freeing that up, and yeah, it was much better on my mental health.
Now, I mean, you're getting asked a lot of questions about, champion because you were the champion for a long time. Israel Adesanya lost a fight to Jan Blachowicz for the light heavyweight title. First of all, what did you make of that fight? I mean, were you surprised by Israel's performance in any way?
No, I thought Israel fights like he does, but Jan just had a really good plan of attack. He was very patient with his angles, and he got secured some late in the fight takedowns. So yeah, he just fought really smart.
Was there anything in there? I mean, I know you're a different fighter than he is, but anything that you saw that you say, okay, next time I face Adesanya, I'm going to try to incorporate this into what I do?
Yeah, perhaps. There's a lot of things I can take from that fight, but you have to wait and see.
And I want to talk about the Gastelum fight, but I want to go back one more thing. When you look at your last fight, I mean, that was with Adesanya. That was an un-Whittaker like performance. Losing is one thing. Losing the way you did, maybe a different, a little surprising. Was that a case of him just being really good and performing at a high level on that particular night, or do you feel like you made some mistakes in terms of both execution and preparation that led to the outcome we saw?
Maybe both. Maybe both. It's hard to say. It's history now.
Do you look back on, especially, do you look back on all your fights, but do you look back on the fights you lost to kind of think, hey, okay, what do I do here? What do I do there?
Not really. My coaches do.
Okay. What do you see from Kelvin? I mean, you prepared for him before. What kind of challenge is this? And do you feel like he's been in some really crazy stand-up fights? You've shown the last two fights you can put on some entertaining scraps with your hands. I guess you didn't get the nickname Bobby Knuckles for nothing, right? So, do you think we might get a war in there for 5 rounds on Saturday?
Maybe, I guess, and that's what makes him so dangerous is the fact that he can take the fight on the grappling, wrestling, striking. He's got knockout power, so I think he's a very dangerous opponent, one of the more dangerous contenders in the division. So gonna have to wait and see who shows up on the night and what sort of fight it'll evolve into.
What was your take when they mentioned to you, because obviously you're ranked number one, he's ranked eighth. I think you might even have been a little bit lower than that when you first accepted the fight. I know you don't have a lot of choice because you're a month out from the fight and everything. Did you have to think through it at all? Do I want him, or is there somebody else I can get, or did you just say yes? Or are you the kind of guy that says yes right away?
Yeah, I said yes because timeline wise it was perfect for me. I wanted to fight at this time and I wanted to fight. The camp was almost done, more or less, and it's everything just kind of fit. After speaking about it with my staff and my family, it made sense to just to go ahead with the fight.
I know you fought at different times because, fighting in Australia for North American pay-per-view time, it kind of makes you fight at a different time. But being local here, fighting in, early part of the day, does that have any impact on you at all?
Nah, not really. I travel all over the world to fight. The times you fight, it's just it changes all the time. You have to be ready and used to it.
Right. Okay. And then finally, I don't know if a lot of people would agree with me, but I think, even though you as a former champion, you as in my list, I have you number 6 pound for pound. I still think you're underrated. I don't think people tend to appreciate how good you really are. Fighting on network television in the U.S. with the largest possible audience. Does that something you look forward to? Do you care about that at this point? Like kind of building your fan base and building your audience and having the opportunity to maybe, fight in front of a bigger crowd than would ordinarily see you?
Not really. It's not really something that I pay attention to or really think about. To be honest, I'm just doing my own thing. I'm walking my own path and forging ahead.
All right. Well, good enough. Let's finish it up here. Get a prediction on you. How do we see this fight going? How do you beat Kelvin Gastelum, and where do you go from there?
I think it'll be a hard fight, but I'm going to be too much for him, and I think maybe late in the second, in the third, I can get him out of there.
Awesome. It'll be a little while for you to get since you've had to finish, wouldn't it?
I know, right? I'm due.
All right, you're due. All right, that is the former middleweight champion, Robert Whittaker. I'm Kevin Iole. Robert, thank you so much. Good luck. We'll see you at Apex on Saturday.
Pleasure. Thank you so much.
Yeah.